back to For Real. We've had some new subscribers in the past week, so if you're new, welcome to the Wednesday News Moto. If you've been here for a while, we're always delighted to have you. You might notice that I sound a bit weird today. I have a cold, but 4 rats tell me it's not COVID. 4 rats can't be wrong, right? Anyway, the show must go on. It would take more than a cold to stop me delivering the news to you. This week we have a new feature as well. At the start of each News Moto, you'll see our donation total on the screen, just like this, down there in the corner. Your support means a lot to us and keeps us going. This week's ride is from Heartprint. Thank you to them for keeping us well stocked in video footage for the News Moto. Today is Wednesday, the 6th of July, and in today's news, we'll do a COVID update, we'll look at some new flights starting up, check in with the drug crime scene, and see who smashed into what while driving drunk in Phnom Penh. After enjoying almost 2 months of being COVID-free, official figures released show that Cambodia has recorded new COVID cases. New daily case numbers are quite small, with less than 10 being detected each day. There are now 28 active COVID cases that have been diagnosed by PCR test in the kingdom. Following the re-emergence of COVID-19 cases in the country, the Health Ministry has ramped up monitoring at all air, water and land entry points. Rapid tests will be carried out on inbound travellers who display symptoms, and PCR tests are mandatory for those who test positive. In Cambodia, there are 2 different types of vaccination cards for COVID. There's the blue Department of Health card and the white military card. This is the case because the Ministry of Defence organised and ran vaccination clinics in many of the smaller cities and villages. The Ministry of Health mostly looked after the larger cities and towns. The only problem with this system is that you have to go back to the same ministry that you had your original vaccinations at in order to get your boosters, because they had 2 separate systems, 2 separate certifications and 2 separate sets of cards. Anyway, the Ministry of Health has now stated that COVID-19 booster doses are available for military vaccination card holders as well as all expats at any vaccination centre across the country. A vaccination campaign spokeswoman said those with military vaccination cards can receive the necessary dosages wherever it is convenient for them to do so. A military vaccination facility is no longer a requirement. She went on to say that the expat community, foreigners who work in Cambodia, who have received jabs in their home countries are also eligible for a free 3rd, 4th or 5th dosage. The foreigners are required to bring vaccination records from their home country and passports to get inoculated at any vaccination facility of their choice. Cambodia and China are in talks to increase the number of flights to at least 6 a week from this month as China eases conditions for passengers. At present, the number of flights between China and Cambodia is only 4. Cambodia is negotiating with the Chinese side to reach 6 flights a week, including 3 flights from Cambodia to China and 3 flights from China to Cambodia, which may possibly start this July, pending approval from China. From the 1st of July onwards, travellers from Cambodia to China no longer need to do quarantine, but they are now required to have 2 PCR tests before departure. The first test must be performed 48 hours before takeoff, and the second 24 hours before takeoff. The United Nations Development Programme has praised the Cambodian government for getting donations from the private sector and the Cambodian Red Cross to support landmine clearance. Donations from patriotic, well-to-do Cambodians for landmine clearance have poured in since the appeal from Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen. The UNDP said in a statement that the demining action is more than just clearing contaminated land, and it is about people and societies and their prospects for a dignified and prosperous life. Cambodian Mine Action Centre's Director General said that more than $11 million has been donated towards demining and UXO clearance work by national donors. Let's hope they get boom for their buck. Well, on second thoughts, maybe not. Prime Minister Hun Sen highlighted the achievements Cambodia has made in the world cultural heritage scene as the nation marked the 71st anniversary of its association with UNESCO, the UN's cultural body. Cambodia became a member of UNESCO way back in 1951, and the 3rd of July this year marked the 71st anniversary of Cambodia's association with the UN's cultural body. The Angkor site was inscribed on the World Heritage List on December the 14th, 1992. We'd better get into some crime stories. From June the 23rd to the 25th, the Anti-Drug Department and the Phnom Penh Police raided 15 locations in the capital and arrested 31 people for selling and using e-cigarette products. But police can only educate offenders and make them sign a contract not to use or sell the products, as there's no law to punish e-cigarette users. So it's just like drunk driving except with more smoke. In the raids, National Police seized 3,409 vape e-cigarettes, 3 shisha and e-cigarette mouthpieces, 2,785 vape bottles, 922 boxed kits of vape e-cigarettes, and 6 boxes containing a total of 1,266 sets of e-cigarette chargers. Police in other provinces also started tightening the ban on the sale and use of e-cigarette products. Cambodia has seen a spike in both drug arrests and seizures during the first half of 2022, stated in a recent report for the Anti-Drug Police Department. The authorities nabbed 7,654 drug-related suspects during the January to June period this year, which is up 5.4% from 7,259 over the same period last year, the report said. Some 3.12 tonnes of illicit drugs have been seized, which is up to 3.7 times more than the same period last year. The seized drugs include heroin, ecstasy, cocaine, crystal methamphetamine, methamphetamine pills, ketamine, and lots of other things. According to the report, some 185 tonnes of drug ingredients, 16 pistols, 23 rifles, 67 cars, 686 motorbikes, 2,653 telephones, 189 scales, and some money had also been confiscated from the suspects during the first half of this year. Cambodia has no death sentence for drug traffickers. Under its law, someone found guilty of trafficking more than 80 grams of illicit drugs could be jailed for life, though. Phnom Penh Municipal Court has sentenced 2 Taiwanese drug kingpins to 27 years in jail each over drug abuse, trafficking and possession of weapons, while their 5 accomplices, including a Vietnamese woman, got lesser jail terms. Ho, 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 not a Christmas present you want, this next story. 4 men were arrested in Phnom Penh after a drunken argument turned to violence. The incident took place at a rented room on a dirt road in Phnom Penh. Police say that the victim and 4 suspects were drinking in their respective rooms next to each other and started to argue, which led to a frenzied attack on the victim with a hoe and other implements. Right, let's move on to drunks smashing into stuff. A Phnom Penh driver dozing at the wheel after a night's carousing came to an abrupt end after he smashed into a stone bridge. Sources at the scene said that the man was driving a Lexus RX 330 along Street 217 at high speeds. Suddenly, the man swerved and smashed into the railing of the stone bridge, causing severe damage to the car. Luckily, the driver was merely shaken by the accident. Witnesses who saw the crash said that he was definitely stoned. We're all for equal opportunity here at For Real, and the next story shows that ladies can smash up stuff just as well as any man. A lady driver who got into the party spirit a little too much was chased by security guards after she attempted to flee after she crashed her car early one morning this week. The incident happened on Kopik Bridge in Tonle Sap in Phnom Penh. Security guards at the scene said that they saw the woman driving a white Toyota Corolla, no Lexus for her. She drove into 2 other vehicles, causing major damage, but refused to stop and continued to drive forward, pursued by alarmed security guards. The proactive driver refused to stop and accelerated in an attempt to smash through the barrier that closes Kopik Bridge at night. In doing so, she caused major damage to her own vehicle. The drunk driver finally halted and police were called. A warning, this last story is hard to bear. 2 men are in hospital after a frenzied attack by a wild bear. The incident happened near a village in the Viel Veng district in Pursat province. A colonel of the district police said that the 2 men were fishing when they encountered the animal, which caused serious injuries by biting and tearing their flesh. It is not known whether the attacking animal was an Asian black bear or a sun bear. Those are the 2 types of bears that do live in Cambodia. Both victims are currently being treated at a private hospital in Osom commune. The inspector also called on people living in the area to remain vigilant. So fortunately, they will be okay, and also there are still wild bears roaming in the wilderness of Cambodia, so that's got to be good news. And last up, we have a shout out to Pat, who's moving to Siem Reap from London in December. Great work, Pat. Drop a comment below so that people can say hi and wish you well on your journey. That brings us to the end of this week's news. You're up to date with all of the most important and slightly less important events in the kingdom. Thank you for watching, and thank you Heartprint for providing today's ride. Take care, have a great week, and we'll see you very soon.